The TD podcast. We are your hosts, Tony and Dak, and in today's episode, we are going through our Waiver Wire Wednesday. For those of you that are unaware, Waiver Wire Wednesday is where we go into our fantasy football world and try to give you guys some deep, big brain thoughts, who you guys should pick up, who you guys should avoid playing, all that fun stuff, as well as giving you guys some insight into how our fantasy football seasons are going. That'll actually be where we kick off this episode. I think I went 3 for 5 this week. So I lost 2 games, both work leagues. But I absolutely destroyed in the Dynasty League, which is what I care most about. And I believe I would have only lost to one person by 6
Who's
points.
the worst player? Which was the worst team in the league?
Exactly. So
Yeah. That's how. For the people that have stayed here the whole season and kind of have listened to us talk about Dynasty, I won this week, thankfully. I'm still fighting for my playoff lives. But there are 7 teams fighting for 4 spots to make the playoffs right now. So pretty deep league right now. Pretty fun to be in. I did win this week again. I lost in my Yahoo league, and I stopped paying attention to my ESPN leagues because they mean nothing anymore and they're not fun. And I don't really talk to a lot of the people that I'm in those leagues with. So I still check my lineups and do everything. I just have not checked ESPN because it's just not fun. Like it was as a kid, but like sleeper is just
Sleeper's better.
fun and there's more things you can do with different types of leagues.
I wish
And
Sleeper was a
next year,
sponsor.
next year, where I'm going to do a vampire league. So
What's
it's
that?
ready. Essentially, you have a team that has no owner. Or actually, so it does have an owner. You create someone is the vampire of every and essentially, if you beat that team, you get one player off of that team. And you just make it throughout the whole year and you try to beat the vampire because if someone loses to the vampire, they get a player off of your team.
I see. Okay. So our takes from last week. So later in this episode, we will give you guys a waiver wire pickup, a matchup we like, don't like, that fun stuff. My waiver wire pickup last week, and has been for most of the season, has been a tight end. Gunnar Helm, number 2 tight end for the Titans, actually had 8.3 points. And you might be thinking, Tony, that sucks. That is not good. It is for a waiver wire pickup, especially for a tight end. He was tight end 20 this week, but considering that every other one was a starter, I will happily take Gunnar Helm. And
In a dynasty league like we're in, yes, we would
yeah,
have
we have
14 people.
14 people in our
Yes.
league. So Gunnar Helm with 8.3 points definitely would have been good. And that's about 3 points more than his average. So very solid week. A lot of targets. I would still look at picking him up if you haven't already. If he's available, what are you doing?
Yeah, I had Kareem Hunt. He had 9 points, pretty solid. And Judkins had a decent game. He had 15 points, had 91 scrimmage yards. So that's a solid day. As I said, he would have a solid day against the 49ers,
Mm-hmm.
which happened. So, yeah.
Yeah. Our top performer, for once, he decided to crawl out of his cave and finally got what he wanted and has been yelling
More than
for.
a cave.
Yeah, finally got what he's been yelling for all season. AJ Brown is the top performer of this week's fantasy football season with 35 points. I believe he had 2 touchdowns and 100 plus yards as well. So big game for him. Happy for him. Hopefully he can hop off our news notifications, all that fun stuff. He can just be happy that he's making
Yeah.
millions playing his sport. Studs and duds is our next section of this episode. This is where we just give a guy who succeeded, who did really well, we didn't expect, and a dud, somebody we expected to do well and did not. Basically, just winners and losers. Dak's winner was a pretty big winner.
Jordan Love. He had 4 touchdowns this week, 234 yards, but he was on my bench. So he led my team on my bench this week. So
Yeah.
shout out to Jordan Love because he's been kind of scaring me all year. He's supposed to be my guy, my quarterback of my team. I have Daniel Jones, who I picked up on the waiver. earlier on in the year, and I have Aaron Rodgers, who's probably not playing next year. So I kind of need Jordan Love to be doing Jordan Love things, because I'm kind of scared at my quarterback position going further in the future.
Yeah. My stud, is somebody that I've had a wishy-washy relationship with in this dynasty league. I've had him on my roster, I think, 4 different times.
Dropping the ball.
Yeah, but now he's not dropping the ball. He's actually carrying it into the end zone, and for 102 yards, catching it 8 times, and once again crossing that end zone for one. That is Adonai Mitchell having 24 points. After seeing him get traded to the Jets, I quickly picked him up because Garrett Wilson is hurt. And Adonai Mitchell is a darn good receiver. Since joining, he's had plenty of targets. And this week he had 12 targets, reeled in 8 of them. Very happy with how he's been playing. Somebody I was not happy with playing, I actually don't have him on my team, but JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba had 4.3 points. I guarantee you the people that have him were very, very disappointed, especially after
Yes.
skunking the opposing team and him having no points to count for it. Very sad, very sad. Not for me, but for some people.
Yeah, kind of sad. Lamar Jackson had 6.5 fantasy points, 246 total passing yards. He had an interception, had a few carries. Lamar just didn't really do anything, and that killed me because I needed him to do something so I could win in our Pick'ems league.
Yeah, and that didn't happen,
No.
which is fine with me. So our next spot is our waiver wire pickups and our matchups we don't like and we do like. For waiver wire pickup is somebody that I've been adamant that should not be starting, but Tyrod Taylor is starting against the Dolphins next week, a team that does not have a very good defense. And the Jets put up points last week. The Dolphins had points put up against them last week. I expect the Dolphins Jets game to be high scoring. Um, and I even included them in our bets episode that you could have saw or you will see tomorrow. So go ahead and check that out tomorrow. It'll drop probably around 3:30. Depends on if I remember to schedule it or not. Anyways, Dak, who's your waiver wire pickup?
Yeah, so my waiver wire pickup is also the matchup that I like this week, and that is Shadur Sanders. It's going against the Tennessee Titans, and I'm kind of waiting for him to just kind of have a breakout kind of game. I think he's got potential there. He's getting familiar with his weapons. He's getting those first team reps, and I think he played a defense that was pretty good in the San Francisco 49ers last week, with just the system as a whole. I think that's going to help him going into this game this week against the Tennessee Titans, and I expect him to have at least 16 points this week in fantasy football.
Yeah, my matchup I like is a bounce back week for Jackson Smith and Jigba against the Atlanta Falcons. Adonai Mitchell, as I just mentioned, had a great week against Atlanta, and I expect nothing less from Jackson Smith. Something I don't expect a big week from is Tyler Warren. Now, this matchup I do not like of Tyler Warren is solely from the tight end position. I know they use him everywhere, but as a tight end against Devin Lloyd, one of the best light coverage linebackers in the league, I could see it not going the best. The Jags defense is good. Their pass rush is solid. Daniel Jones has a peg leg right now with a broken fibula. Well, broken fibula, I believe.
Yep, Caroline.
Yeah, I expect the Colts to lose this game, and I think the shutdown of Tyler Warren could bite them in the butt and could be a big part of why they end up losing on Sunday.
Yeah, my matchup I don't like is Derrick Henry versus the Steelers. Um, I just I I haven't trusted a lot of Derrick Henry this year. I know he had a decent week, but Derrick Henry has not done Derrick Henry things this year, and I wouldn't put it past him to have like 8 points or 6 points this week against the Steelers. I think they're going to be passing the ball a lot. I think Lamar is going to have to do a lot of their rushing, just because of scheme wise to take away pressure. And if they try to contain him, I think it's going to essentially be Lamar stepping up in the pocket and proving that he can throw the football. Um, and I just don't think it's a Derrick Henry type of matchup this week.
Yeah. Well, so that'll cap off our waiver wire Wednesday. Let us know down below what you guys think should be picked up, who you guys think will be a big matchup, who you guys will be starting, who you won't be, and of course, let us know down below if you followed our matchups from last week and if it saved you or ended up biting you in the butt for not. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next episode next week with more recaps. Actually, no, tomorrow with our Tailing with TD. Sorry. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.